The sun was still high in the sky when Daniel pulled into the driveway of his modest two-story home on the quiet suburban street. Normally, at this hour, he would still be at the factory, running machines, covered in sweat, and waiting for the long day to end. But today was different. His supervisor had unexpectedly let him leave early after a big order was completed ahead of schedule. Daniel smiled as he stepped out of his old pickup truck, holding a small paper bag from the ice cream shop down the street. Inside were 2 cones, one chocolate and one strawberry, Emily's favorite. The thought of seeing her face light up at the unexpected treat filled him with warmth. He imagined Clara smiling too, grateful that he was home early, ready to spend family time together. As he walked up the path, the September breeze rustled the leaves scattered across the lawn. Everything felt peaceful on the outside. But the moment he unlocked the front door and stepped inside, that peace evaporated. The house was unusually quiet. Clara usually had music playing in the kitchen or the television humming in the living room. Emily often filled the house with her laughter or the sound of her dolls clattering across the wooden floor. But now, silence. Heavy, unsettling silence. Daniel set the bag of ice cream on the counter and called out softly, "Clara." "Emily." No answer. He frowned. His instincts told him something wasn't right. He closed the door quietly behind him, his ears straining. Then he heard it, faint, muffled. A sound that made his stomach twist. It was crying. Daniel's heart dropped. He moved quickly but cautiously through the house, following the broken sobs that drifted from upstairs. Every step up the staircase made his chest pound harder. When he reached the landing, the sound was clearer, Emily's voice. His sweet little girl, crying as though her heart were breaking. His pulse raced. He followed it to her bedroom door, which was cracked open just enough for him to see inside. What he saw made his blood run cold. Clara stood in the middle of the room, towering over Emily, who sat huddled on the floor by her bed, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. Clara's face was twisted with anger as she gripped Emily's tiny arm so tightly that the child whimpered in pain. "You're so useless, Emily." Clara hissed, her voice low but venomous. "Can't you do anything right? I told you to clean up your toys. Look at this mess." Emily's tears streamed down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Mommy," she sobbed, her little body trembling. "I didn't mean." "Don't talk back to me," Clara snapped, shaking her daughter's arm roughly. Daniel's vision blurred with rage. For a moment, he couldn't move, frozen in disbelief. This wasn't the Clara he thought he knew, the woman he had married, the woman he had trusted with his child. His heart pounded so loudly he thought Clara might hear it. Then Emily let out a desperate cry, and that was it. Daniel's protective instincts roared to life. He pushed the door open so hard it slammed against the wall. "Clara, stop!" His voice thundered through the room. Both Clara and Emily jumped. Clara's grip loosened, and Emily scrambled away, running straight into Daniel's arms. She buried her tear-streaked face against his chest, clutching him like he was her only safe place in the world. Daniel wrapped his arms around her, his jaw clenched, his body trembling with fury. He glared at Clara, his eyes burning. "What are you doing to her?" His voice was low, dangerous. Clara's face went pale. "Daniel, it's not what it looks like. She wasn't listening, and not what it looks like." Daniel cut her off sharply. "Clara, I just saw you hurting her. I heard what you called her." Emily whimpered softly, and Daniel held her tighter, shielding her from the woman standing a few feet away. His mind raced with 1,000 thoughts, disbelief, betrayal, rage, sorrow. He had been working long hours to keep this family afloat, trusting that while he was away, Clara would love and protect their daughter. Instead, she had been tearing her down, breaking her spirit. Clara's eyes darted nervously. "I just lost my temper, Daniel. You don't understand the stress I'm under. You're gone all the time, and I have to handle everything alone. Sometimes she doesn't listen, and Enough." Daniel's voice shook the walls. "Don't you dare blame your stress for this. She's a child. She needs patience, love, guidance. Not this cruelty." Clara's lips trembled, but she didn't speak. She looked small now, exposed, caught in the truth of what she had done. Daniel lowered his voice, though it was still firm and cutting. "Do you realize what you've done to her? She's scared of you. Look at her, Clara. She's trembling. She doesn't need a monster. She needs a mother." Emily clung tighter, as if afraid her father might let her go. Daniel kissed the top of her head, whispering softly to her, "It's okay, princess. Daddy's here now. I won't let anyone hurt you." Clara's eyes filled with tears, but Daniel didn't soften. He couldn't. The image of Emily's terrified face was burned into his mind. For several moments, the room was silent except for Emily's soft sobs. The weight of reality hung heavy in the air. Daniel knew in that instant that everything had changed. His trust was shattered. His marriage, already strained by long hours and silent arguments, now felt irreparably broken. But one thing was crystal clear in his heart: Emily came first. Always. He lifted Emily gently into his arms, holding her against his chest. "We're done for tonight," he said flatly, looking at Clara one last time. "You stay away from her." Without waiting for a response, he carried his daughter out of the room. Each step down the hall felt like the beginning of a new life, one where he would never again turn a blind eye, one where his little girl's safety and happiness were the only priorities. As he closed Emily's bedroom door behind them, Daniel made a silent vow: no matter what it took, he would protect his daughter from this day forward. And for the first time, Clara realized, she hadn't just lost her temper. She might have lost her family. The next morning, the house was heavy with silence. Daniel sat at the kitchen table, a cup of untouched coffee cooling in his hands. The sleepless night weighed on him, the echo of Emily's sobs, the look of terror on her little face, and the image of Clara's hand gripping her arm all replayed in his mind like a broken record. Upstairs, Emily was still asleep, curled in her bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit for comfort. Daniel had stayed by her side most of the night, stroking her hair, whispering that she was safe now. Only when she drifted into a shaky but deep sleep had he gone downstairs, leaving her door cracked open. Clara sat across from him at the table. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her hands twisting nervously in her lap. She hadn't spoken much since last night, and the weight of her guilt was written all over her face. Finally, she broke the silence. Her voice was low, trembling. "Daniel, I'm sorry." Daniel looked at her, his face stone. He had loved this woman once, but now all he could see was betrayal. "Sorry doesn't erase what you did to her." His voice was calm but firm, each word heavy. Clara's eyes filled with tears. "I lost my temper. I didn't mean to hurt her. You don't understand, I've been under so much stress, cooking, cleaning, taking care of Emily while you're gone all the time. Sometimes she pushes me, and she buried her face in her hands." I snapped. Daniel's jaw tightened. He slammed his coffee mug down on the table, startling her. "Don't you dare make this about stress. We all have stress, Clara. You think I don't feel pressure working 12-hour shifts just to keep food on the table. But I don't come home and take it out on her." His voice cracked with anger and sorrow. "She's a child. She's supposed to feel safe in her own home, with her own mother." Clara shook her head frantically. "I love her, Daniel. You know I do. I just made a mistake." "A mistake?" Daniel's voice dripped with disbelief. "A mistake is forgetting to wash the dishes. A mistake is misplacing your keys. What you did was cruelty. You called our daughter useless. You shook her until she cried. Do you know how small you made her feel? Do you know the damage you could have done to her heart?" Clara's tears fell harder. She reached across the table, but Daniel pulled his hands back. He couldn't bring himself to let her touch him. "Please," she whispered, desperation in her tone. "Don't take Emily away from me. I'll do better. I'll get help. Please, don't give up on me." Daniel looked at her for a long moment. His chest ached. He wasn't a man who made rash decisions, but he was also a man who kept his promises. And last night, when he held Emily in his arms, he had made a silent vow: he would protect her no matter what. "You broke something, Clara," he finally said, his voice heavy with grief. "You broke my trust. More importantly, you broke Emily's trust. And once that's broken, it's almost impossible to fix." Clara covered her mouth, muffling a sob. Daniel stood, his chair scraping against the floor. "I can't risk it happening again. I won't. Emily comes first, always." By afternoon, Daniel had made his decision final. He packed Clara's belongings into 2 suitcases and left them by the front door. When she came downstairs, her face red from crying, she saw the bags and froze. "You're sending me away," she whispered, her voice hollow. Daniel's eyes were steady, though his heart was heavy. You need to leave. I don't know if you'll ever change, Clara. But Emily doesn't have the luxury of waiting for you to figure it out. She deserves peace now. She deserves to grow up in a home where she feels safe. Clara collapsed onto the sofa, sobbing uncontrollably. She begged for another chance, but Daniel didn't waver. For years he had compromised for the sake of keeping his family together, but this was different. His daughter's well-being wasn't negotiable. When Clara finally walked out with her suitcases, Daniel closed the door behind her and leaned against it, tears streaming down his face. This wasn't the life he had dreamed of, a broken marriage, a single fatherhood. But as he wiped his eyes and looked toward the staircase, he remembered Emily's tear-stained cheeks. And he knew he had done the right thing. Weeks turned into months. Life wasn't easy. Daniel had to juggle work, household chores, and parenting alone. But he did it all with determination, because every time he saw Emily smile again, every time he heard her laugh while drawing at the kitchen table, he knew it was worth it. Slowly, Emily began to heal. She no longer flinched at sudden movements. She slept better at night. Her little voice grew brighter each day. And she clung to her father with a love so fierce it brought Daniel to tears. One evening, after dinner, Emily climbed onto Daniel's lap while he sat on the couch reading the newspaper. She wrapped her small arms around his neck and whispered, "Daddy, thank you for saving me." Daniel froze, his throat tightening. He closed the newspaper, hugging her tightly, his eyes brimming with tears. "You don't have to thank me, princess," he whispered, kissing the top of her head. "It's my job to protect you. And I promise, as long as I'm alive, no one will ever hurt you again." Emily smiled, resting her head on his chest, her little heart finally at peace. In that moment, Daniel realized something profound. He hadn't just saved his daughter's life from pain, she had saved his, too. She had given him purpose, strength, and a love so pure that it made every sacrifice worth it. Moral of the story. True love is not measured by words but by actions. A parent's duty is to protect, nurture, and guide their children with patience and compassion. No excuse, not stress, not hardship, justifies hurting a child. Sometimes, the bravest choice is letting go of someone who causes harm, even if it means walking away from a marriage. Because at the end of the day, no bond is stronger than the unconditional love between a parent and their child. Checkmark. That's the expanded scene to 1,000 words, filled with emotion, closure, and a powerful moral ending.